नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब दोस्तों। स्वागत है आप सभी का कहानियों के इस खास कार्यक्रम में, जहां आप सुनते हैं हर दिन नई नई कहानियां और उन कहानियों से आप लेते हैं एक नई प्रेरणा रोजाना। दोस्तों, आज हम आपके लिए एक ऐसी ही कहानी लाए हैं जो निश्चित ही आपके अंदर एक नया जज्बा और जुनून पैदा करेगी। जी हाँ, ये कहानी है उदयपुर के रहने वाले युगल टांक की जिंदगी के बारे में। दोस्तों, आज हम मिलेंगे इनसे और जानेंगे इनकी जिंदगी से जुड़े तमाम प्रेरक किस्सों एवं अनुभवों के बारे में। इनसे मिलने से पहले आइए इनके बारे में कुछ खास बातें कर लें। दोस्तों, ये पेशे से एक आर्किटेक्ट एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्लानर है। साथ ही साथ ये एक साइक्लिस्ट भी है। साइकिलिंग करना इनका पैशन है, जिसे ये फॉलो करते हैं। खुद को स्वस्थ और फिट रखने के साथ साथ अन्य लोगों में भी इसको लेकर जागरूकता फैलाने का काम करते हैं। आपको बता दें, उदयपुर में जन्मे और पले बड़े युगल टांक ने अपनी स्कूली शिक्षा यहीं से प्राप्त की। उच्च शिक्षा प्राप्त करने के लिए ये उदयपुर से बाहर गए। जी हाँ, देश के अलग अलग राज्यों में रहने और अच्छी शिक्षा प्राप्त करने के बाद इन्होंने वहीं से अपने करियर की शुरुआत की। अपने ही फील्ड में अच्छा खासा काम किया और बेहतरीन अनुभव प्राप्त करने के बाद ये दोबारा उदयपुर लौटे। जी हाँ, जब ये 15 सालों बाद अपने शहर उदयपुर लौटे तो यहीं से अपनी पेशेवर यात्रा की एक नई शुरुआत की और अपने करियर को आगे बढ़ाया। आज ये पेशे से एक आर्किटेक्ट एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्लानर होने के साथ साथ एक पैशनेट साइक्लिस्ट भी है। दोस्तों, युगल टांक ने ये मुकाम हासिल करने के लिए जीवन में कड़ी मेहनत की है। घर परिवार से दूर रहे, अपने जज्बातों को संभाला और अपने करियर पर फोकस किया। आखिरकार इनकी मेहनत रंग लाई और आज ये कामयाबी के एक अच्छे मुकाम पर आप पहुंचे हैं। इनकी जिंदगी से जुड़े ऐसे ही कई और दिलचस्प किस्से सुनने के लिए आइए दोस्तों, अब हम सीधा मिलते हैं इनसे और सुनते हैं इनकी ये प्रेरक कहानी सिर्फ और सिर्फ इनकी अपनी जुबानी।
So hello everyone, I'm Yougal Tank and I'm from Udaipur. Talking about myself, it's been like I did my by education qualification I'm an architect and planner. I would say urban infra planner with a specialization in transportation and other things. So I did my schooling from Udaipur. I was in Udaipur till 2002, and then I've been to different part of the country for my education first, and for my job, for my internship, and so forth. And exactly after 15 years, I moved back to Udaipur. That in 2017 with my wife. So when I moved out, definitely I was just out of the school, so I was alone. And when I came back to the city, I bring my wife along with me. My entire family lives here, so because of my education and job prospect, the life has taken me to different parts of the country. And I was in Gujarat for a good amount of time. Then I was in Karnataka for a good amount of time. And घाट का पानी पी के समझ में आ गया कि घर घर होता है और जब घर उदयपुर में हो तो why not be back to the base. Talking about what exactly I do, I'm into development sector. So I thought that why don't when I'm working for improving other cities' quality of life, why don't I do it for my own city? That is for Udaipur, and that's where the decision I took. And me and my wife settled down in Udaipur. It's been like 5 years we are here. We took a big chunk of pay cut, but given Udaipur, being a different city from where I was moved out, so we are okay with that. It's just about you should be happy with wherever you are. Yeah. So talking about how I have joined this industry or how I has like from school days to here, there's a big long journey we are talking about. It's been like I did my 12th in 2002 and we are in 2022 is exactly 20 years we are talking about. So if I'm not sure how many audience know about this bubble burst which happened in US in 2001. So talking about 10th when we were in 2000, so we were a group of like around 10 close friends, and that time IT was like everybody was wanting to go to IT sector, computer sector, because that was a lucrative field. Everybody was like, I'm going to do IT and I'll be like moving away out of India and I'll be settling down somewhere in the US or in some part of the world. But in 2001, the bubble burst happened, IT bubble burst happened, and it's suddenly like, a lot of people have lost their job. They have came back. They have to come back to India. So suddenly IT-wise, is a waste of time to go into IT and everything, because it was like now nothing is there for anybody to look into. So we were certainly clueless, because till 2000, till the time when we were in 10th, everybody was like, we want to do IT, or we were have a very fixed mindset, and that's why we have chosen subject math, science, and whatever which is required to get into IT. And suddenly in 2001, we were clueless कि अब क्या करेंगे. So suddenly people start shuffling into कि I'll go into mechanical, I'll go into civil, and I'll go into some other field, and so on and so forth. So after 2002, and because I was the only one, or first among my second, I would say, not first, I was the second one from my family to go out of Udaipur to pursue my education. So one of my cousin, that was the first person to go out of the family to pursue his education from Mumbai. He was into architecture. He was pursuing his architecture, or maybe just has pursued his graduation, and he was practicing architect at that time. Maybe a very initial few years he was into. So I got in touch with him. He was in Mumbai, the first person to be in Mumbai, by the way, from our family, because we were coming from a rural background, settled down in Udaipur. Udaipur itself looked like you're living in a big city at that point of time. So given his posture, definitely he inspired us to join, at least me, to join architecture. So we start be doing our architecture, if at all we are doing it, if at all I'm doing it. So उस टाइम पे राजस्थान की बात करें तो राजस्थान में आयोजन has just started his course in 2001 or 2002. That was the same time when we were looking into the profession. And there were a lot of colleges in Gujarat. So somehow there was some connection. I mean, maybe Starland, and somehow I went to Gujarat to get into one of the colleges. Gujarat has, that one of time, had 6 different architecture colleges. That's a different story that, again, I'm going to take half an hour. I do not want to go into detail that Gujarat mein, there is a district called Anand, which is famous for Amul, definitely. Everybody knows about Amul. So Amul is in Anand, and Anand has a twin city, or Anand mein hi, you can call it as a Anand Vidyanagar, because of a lot of educational hub, is one of the biggest educational hub of Gujarat, I would say, which also had IRMA, one of the reputed rural management institute in India. So Anand district has one of the architecture college settled in Anand, and one of the architecture college in Vasad with a district called Anand. So when I was consulting with somebody based out of Baroda who is pursuing his masters, so he was saying कि CEPT करके college is Center for Environment Planning and Technology. It is one of the best colleges in India. So he keep changing his position as far as architecture is concerned between JJ Mumbai, JJ Architecture College Mumbai, which everybody knows who is in the profession, and CEPT. Definitely they keep shuffling between around first or second rank of architecture. So he was saying that architecture, definitely CEPT is definitely the first option. Second is MS University Baroda, that is Maharaja Sayaji Rao University Baroda. Third is Anand ka Kacha College. You'll not believe, just because Vasad also has shared same district as Anand. And at that time of after giving my entrance exam, I was getting option of Surat. There was architecture college in Surat as well, and Vasad in Anand. So I thought this is the college she was talking about. There's a third ranked college. So I thought, why not into Anand? Why not into a third ranked college instead of fourth ranked college? And somehow I went to that. From there, I did my post graduation from CEPT. And since the time I joined architecture in 2002, I was like shuffling between CEPT. We keep roaming around in and around. Architecture takes you around with a lot of case studies, a lot of measure drawings to be done to get practical knowledge as a part of internship. And CEPT, because it's just 100 kilometers away from my place, and we had I had few connections in CEPT, as in my seniors, my peers, my colleagues, I would say. So that was from day one. The desire was that somehow, if not in architecture, I definitely would like to do something in CEPT. I would like to spend some time in CEPT to get my further education, and that's why I did my post graduation in urban infra planning from CEPT University. And from there on, we had a kind of campus placement, and we were among the top few to get in 2010, yes, I finished my post graduation, and then from there on, so that's the amount of time I spent in Gujarat from 2000 to 2010, and from there on, I went to Karnataka in Bangalore. I spent close to like from 2010 to 2017, 7 years in Bangalore, and in 17 I took a major decision to shift back to my city. And before leaving Bangalore, just to give a little chunk of brief there, that I was a part of an organization called Directorate of Urban Land Transport. I spent close to like 4 years there, and it's the only government think tank, I would say. Uh, Not, I would say, definitely the government think tank, which help state government think tank. When I say government think tank, as in state government, only state government think tank, one of its kind think tank, which no other state government has or still having. And we got multiple requests from maybe different states to have this kind of think tanks in their own states. And I was the one who was dealing with that, along with definitely the commissioner of the time, Ms. Manjula. So they were also trying to have this kind of set up in their own state, where we were not only serving Bangalore, because we are based out of Bangalore, but we are serving to entire state, Karnataka, given being that the state government department altogether, headed by our principal secretary and commissioner of DULT. So that's how it is, and I had a good exposure working in Bangalore, specifically in transportation, specifically in infrastructure sector. And in 2017, I took a decision that I had enough. So one thing, living in Bangalore, what I realized that the moment we shifted to Bangalore, we were lucky at least that as a part of campus placement, we got an opportunity of 13, 14 people shifting from the same batch to the same place, to the same office, in fact. That's the first office, and then people start shuffling around. People start moving out of the office. They either change not only the city, the state. They went to another state, another company, another organization. So that's how we, from 13, 14 of whatever the number we had, last maybe just one or two people who were in Bangalore, and then a lot of new people who joined from the same batch, who were at one upon a time. Somebody was in Mumbai, somebody was in Pune, somebody was in Delhi. They shifted back to Bangalore. The shuffling keep happening, and we were always in touch with, at least our set batchmates. Somehow got connected to them, and then we have few friends also from other fields. So there was a big group also, social group also. But somehow, at least the social circle, what you have in your hometown is, and whenever or wherever you are doing your job, and that too in a metro city, definitely there's a huge chunk of difference between your social circle, friends, families, and there's a common saying, right? That जो बचपन के चटी बड़ी याद हैं, you'll not able to find that kind of people in your life, irrespective wherever you grow, or in whatever field you grow, wherever you go, and so on and so forth. So that's where in 2017 we took a decision that it's time we should go back to Udaipur. We should move back to Udaipur, and that's what I keep telling people, that गाट का पानी पी के ये समझ में आ गया कि घर होता है, और घर जब उदयपुर में हो तो definitely, I mean, there is no looking back there. And that's before Corona, because I understand COVID-19 crisis. I have seen a lot of guys who are shifted back to their bases, or there is now a new phenomena which is generating that people have started moving back to their roots. They are now looking into an option where they can settle down in a calmer and cooler places than being in the metro cities, because and they are taking huge pay cuts also. That's what we did in 2017. So we didn't do it for the COVID-19 reason. It's a decision made out of choice. But after the COVID crisis, we have seen a lot of reverse brain drain, what we can call it. I mean, technological. I'm not sure whether I'm correct there or not. And there's another saying which I again keep using. This is that you can take out person out of the country, right? But you can't take country out of the person. So another reason for me to settle down in Udaipur. And since the time another reason for me to shift to Udaipur also was that the kind of and I'm into urban development sector, so the kind of opportunity what we have in metro cities, Udaipur mein aisa milna mushkil hai. But since the time we have the smart city mission of Ministry of Housing, Urban Affairs come into picture, there are a lot of smaller towns also who has big consultant, big NGOs, big organization coming and working with local city government. And I was lucky one that when I took the region, there was an organization called Cyclist South Asia, which as of now I'm part of. They have just signed an MOU with the Municipal Corporation, and they were into transportation initiative, which were exactly what the opportunity I was looking for. And that's how we got connected with each other, and that's how I got settled, get an opportunity, same opportunity what I was looking for, and settled out in Udaipur. Yeah. So talking about hardships, yes, talking about my tenure in Bangalore. So I spent 7 years in Bangalore, and the interesting part is Bangalore definitely being the biggest IT hub in India. So if you're in IT sector, somehow connected to computer or somehow connected to IT field, and if you're in Bangalore, you are in the best place in India. Believe me on this, trust me on this, and you don't have to trust me. I mean, there's a fact of the day. We have few, IT hubs, like definitely Bangalore is on the top. Then we have Hyderabad, then we have Pune, then we have Chennai, and now few upcoming IT hubs as well. But unfortunately, we were not into the IT sector. And the problem with us was urban development sector, that way also the pay scales are not at par with, compared to IT sector. And talking about IT, because it pays, and that too when you're in Bangalore, it pays a handsome, amount to fresher also. So, and Bangalore, not only in Bangalore, I mean, I do not want to be biased there religiously or communally or regionalism. I do not want to go into that zone. But somehow Bangalore has a special, not only Bangalore, I mean, South Union States, I would say. We are all, divided by state, by connected by the same notion of being in a single country called India, and we are all proud of that. But somehow the IT industry has a big chunk of people who work for the IT companies, and the pay scale as a fresher also is quite huge, which for other people sometimes become a hurdle in terms of, because you go to a rickshaw guy and the enormous amount he charged just for say 200-meter distance also, just because IT people are getting a good amount of pay scale. They don't mind paying $200 for a distance of say 1 kilometer. But for us who are not at par with them, 200 is a big amount to pay for 2 kilometer ride. So that kind of hurdle what we have faced. That's one. Second is being the IT hub and being the pay scale I'm talking about. The rental, and it's not only Bangalore, definitely other metro cities also have a rental and this kind of problem. So you go to Bangalore and don't belong to IT industry, and become sometimes very difficult to survive, because Bangalore definitely is also a pub city that also give you a good opportunity to explore, different this time, along with good, natural, natural beauties in and around the geography of Bangalore, like Kerala, which is gold zone country, and then definitely I've been to Kerala. Maybe I was lucky to be in Kerala twice as a part of my Bangalore tenure, and definitely it provides you a beautiful landscape. So, but and then definitely surrounded by Tamil Nadu, some part of Tamil Nadu border, Ooty and this part. And then they on some side we have Goa very nearby, and we have some other places very nearby. So it's not only hurdle, but it also provided you the opportunities to be in Bangalore, to get in, to know the different culture, to know the different people, to know different food societies and this and that. And this opens up your mind. It opens up your mindset, view set, that how to coexist within the diverse group of people, within the diversity, what you feel, from where you're coming, from where you're pursuing your education, and from where you're moving. So it also gives you opportunities to mingle and see the diversity of this country. This country provides. Another hurdle I would say is that being in urban development sector, somehow it was just my feel. I might be wrong there also. That Delhi, definitely being the national capital, it has a lot of opportunities for urban development for who is into the sector. Mumbai also had some good amount of opportunities in other than and also some other part of the country. But Bangalore, somehow we felt that when I was there, that somehow it doesn't had that kind of opportunities, at least specific to this sector. So it becomes tricky sometime for me to, if I was looking for opportunities and so forth. So yeah, that the hurdle. That's few of the hurdles I'm talking about. And coming back to Udaipur, certainly from a very big department, when you're actually working with principal secretaries, chief secretaries, the top administrative sector of the state, and when you move to city like Udaipur, which work on a local setup, which and you're actually working with city government. So like I'm the bicycle mayor of Udaipur, and I was trying to and the mentality of bigger cities with the kind of exposure they have, not only of their own city, but because they got a lot of opportunity to travel outside their own state, travel outside the country and see how the world operates on a different level. So they are very accommodative to the new ideas. But when you go to a setup like this, like Udaipur, and given the kind of budgetary constraint, given the exposure constraint, given that the local politics constraint, and that's everywhere, that's a different scenario. But the exposure, I would say, along with the budgetary allocation systems, which doesn't allow this kind of local government, smaller cities to open its wings, open its arms, as maybe which allows Bangalore to open its, or which allows Delhi to say accommodate new ideas, implement new ideas, see new ideas, or at least go somewhere and see the ideas and feel feasible. Definitely can be implemented in the city. So that's what the hurdle we have faced. I mean, I would say that not faced, but we can feel, and we have seen while working in the sector in Udaipur that at least because of lack of exposure and lack of mindset and lack of will to implement certain things, because they have not seen this kind of things, it sometimes becomes very hard to convince government officials that this kind of thing can be very useful for the city, or can be very beneficial for the city, not only for the city but its citizenry, which are the important beneficiary of the city, right? So that's part and parcel of your life, and that's you learn. You face the hurdle, then you learn certain new things, then you try to work around the things, try to come up with a workable solution around the same setup, norm, and try to overcome the situations. So that's how it is. Yeah, been like I'm in 12th year of my experience, and I spent almost 8-9 years for my education, for my graduation, which is a 5-year course, and then 2 years of post graduation. So I'm still come up with a lot of face this kind of question from my cousins, from my friends, younger brothers, sisters who are trying to pursue their career into some fields which they are not at all aware of. So they keep asking this question that what exactly is important, how exactly, what is the weightage you can give to education, or what is the weightage you give to experience, and this and that. I would say is equally distributed. I mean, it's not that if you don't have a good education, I mean, definitely, until unless I'll give you an example of this. Let's say if I would like to go into architecture practice, I would like to open my architecture office, and I would like to practice this. So let's say, not necessarily that I might be having a degree, or maybe I can go and have a degree from any of the college, doesn't matter. Given the setup that I have a chain of family setup which is into construction business, or which is into something which has good connection around. So maybe the moment I get the degree out of the college, any college in the world, which nobody knows about, and because there is already a established setup, and you can just go down and have a seat there. So there's a chain of projects which are you part of, and then you can gain experience as you move on, and make your own name out of the already established setup there. But let's say if you're not so fortunate, if you don't have this kind of setup, and if you don't have say a strong financial background, and if you don't have, or your family doesn't, and along with your friend doesn't have that kind of connections around, you're coming from say lower income group to say lower middle income group, and you don't have any kind of backup connections and so forth, then become very important for you to have a degree, and then maybe if you like to open your own practice, then definitely maybe it might happen that first few years will be very struggling given how the competitive market is. Any market you talk about is not only architecture I'm talking about, is not only planning I'm talking about. Any market, for that matter, is very competitive. You know that, right? So it become like both are equally important. Is all about from where exactly, from which background you're coming, and what exactly your life goals are. So based on that, maybe if you want to join your family business, which is already established, which is already settle up a business, and it's just for the sake of a degree or diploma you would like to have it, just go and have it, have a fun of your life, just because you know that there's a backup which is already ready for you. There's already a setup which is ready for you. Just have to go and maybe take it forward. Then just go and have fun in life, take a degree, and come back to your setup. But if you don't have that kind of setup, definitely then qualification come into picture. Education is very important then. And then you need to be very careful while choosing the kind of degree you would like to do, the kind of, the education you would like to pursue, the kind of college you would like to go to, given the kind of field you have chosen and so forth. Yeah. So it's equally distributed along. Talking about inspirational figures in my life, and talking about peers and my inspirations from where I am coming and from where I am. Definitely, I mean, I would say not only me, but based on my experience, I would say that everybody needs, an inspirational figure to look up to. Everybody needs some kind of inspiration who can guide them, who can motivate them, who can maybe, take out the negative energies, if at all, at some point of time he or she is suffering or going through. So, talking about myself, definitely. From my school days till my graduation, till my post graduation, I used to look up to one person called known as Mr. Rupesh Rajpurohit. He is from Bikaner, Rajasthan, and he is in Gujarat from last 20 years or so as a part of Gujarat government. As of now, he's a part of Gujarat government. So how we have a connection is that he came to Udaipur to pursue his post-graduation in geology from MLSU, because MLSU geology department seemed once upon a time when he was here. I'm talking about late 90s to early 2000, when it's not only Rupesh, but there were a group of 4 people. He was there, his elder brother was here, and 2 of his batchmates were here, and all were into geology. Yes, and they have rented a house, just our house. I mean that way, and they were on the terrace. We were on the ground and first floor. So as a young, very young fellow, when I used to not, I used to wear, shorts. That's schooling time. I'm talking about early schooling, 5th, 6th, or 7th, something like this. So they were here for 3-4 years, and that was the time I got introduced. Not only get introduced to them, but I'm still in touch with them. And so specifically talking about Rupesh, so he was the one who left his course from here, MLSU, in PG in geology, and he joined MSU PG in geology because that is much more reputed, that is much more, known across the world. So he got an opportunity and he moved out. But we were in connection, at least in person. He was there for me for 2 years, or maybe somewhere 1.5, 2 years. And after that, I was in continuous touch as far as my Gujarat journey is concerned. He was the one, and I used to call him Bhagwan. There is a big name to give to anybody. Bhagwan and not only me, all my friend circle used to call him Bhagwan, because I used to call him Bhagwan, for the reason that he was the person that not only on the subject matter. Let's say if we are not talking about geology, because geology is his subject, it's not mine. You talk about any matter of the world, maybe books, maybe mythology, maybe his subject matter, maybe the politics, maybe any subject you talk about, and he is able to give you good amount of knowledge, the kind of wisdom he comes with, the kind of knowledge he comes with in each and every field at that point of time. So for me, he was Bhagwan. He is like, it still is Bhagwan for me. So all my friends used to call him Bhagwan. So that was the first inspiration, I would say, who started from where the journey started. Other than the cousin I was talking about, that he was the one who has guided me to pursue my architecture, which is very different from that time. If you talk now, architecture seems to be a common cause across, but talking about 2001, 2002, nobody has heard the word architect or architecture. And whenever you used to come back in your summer vacation or in your winter vacation, and people, at least the family, would like to ask, ki, architecture hota kya hai? And then you have, irrespective of that, you have explained in detail that this is what architects are, and this is what architects do, and this is what architecture field is all about. Ultimately, what they understand is that, अच्छा तुम वो जो घर बनाते हो जो वो वाले लोग ऐसा करके we are talking about early 2000, right? So that was at that point of time was inspirations. And then as we move forward, as we started our career journeys, at every point of time somehow if I talk about DULT, our commissioner was our inspiration, because she was so workaholic, and at the age of that time she was somewhere around like touching 50. She was so workaholic, she was so up to the point that when she is and you are just like maybe not even 25, she's double your age, and when you see her putting up the kind of energy, effort, resources into whatever she is doing into, you also get motivated that when she can put up this much of energy, time, resources in whatever she is engaged with, why don't we as a young professional can do it? So she was one of the motivation, I would say, who motivated us, not only me but the entire setup of DULT, to be very honest, to work. And normally government is a common saying across India, right? Government is all about, there is no ethics, there is no integrity, and no so on and so forth. But she was the lady who fought for her rights, and completely honest, completely integrated officer, and that's one of the biggest motivation for us. That and in government setup, there's another very common thing to see. Now the scenario has changed a bit from last 5-7 years, but once upon a time, if you see 100 male government officers, there would be only 1 or 2 ladies. Say if you call them for a meeting or for a conference, female would be like 1 or 2 of another 100 males, right? So in the big pool of people where every other department is governed by a male member, she is the only female, and she is known for integrity, she is known for her honesty, she is known for her workaholic nature, and that was the motivation for us to get into. Another motivational figure, if I talk about, is the guy called Srinidhi Anantraman. He owns the organization called Geodesic Techniques, and he was the owner of the company from where I started my career, from where I started my professional life. So we were placed in Geodesic Techniques, a very young professional as a fresher, and he's the one. And there's a common phenomena I now keep using around, that there's a very common practice in India to call just maybe 2 years senior to you as a sir and madam, and I normally don't follow this practice. And this is not out of somewhere it came from Srinidhi sir. Srinidhi, because he is so down to earth. He was so down to earth fellow. It's like long time ago. I'm talking about this 2010-11. I'm talking about when as a young fresher we have joined his organization, his private organization. So and his empire was like, we used to have 2,000 employees, and then also he doesn't used to discriminate between our intern to him as a boss of the company, who owns a 300 crore plus turnover at that point of time. So if he's instead of calling you as a fresher or the intern to his cabin, ki ye samajhna hai, what exactly you've done, tell me, because it was a structural company which has, if you talk about Mumbai Tire 2 and 3 terminal, which is now famous world across, the flowering shape, this thing is done by Geodesic Techniques. Delhi T3 terminal is done by this organization. Singapore Garden by the Bay is done by us as in by Lathan Geodesic Techniques. So I always still have that feeling of connected to this organization. It's been for a good amount of years. Instead of calling us into his chamber, he used to come to you that if something he want to get clarification, or if he's not clear about what exactly you've done, and he would just sit beside you on a normal chair what has been given to you, and he'll not show himself as the boss and the moment, and then suddenly at the fresher you become like the boss is sitting just beside you, and he's at that point of time was touching 60 and you're just not even 25, maybe 23, 24. So you'll feel very afraid of a boss sitting next to your chair, and he is like like how we used to do head down in our school when teacher used to give kid chalo 5 minutes head down. So you just be very casual, and whenever you used to call sir, he used to say that, what sir, who is sir you're talking to? I go by the name called Srinidhi Anantaraman, so either you can call me Srinidhi or maybe Shri or whatever it is, but don't call me sir or madam. My parents have given me a beautiful name. So we were like, for us it was a psychopath stuff that owner of this organization is sitting beside you, and he's not wanting, or he's telling us very strictly. He sometimes I have seen him felt offended by if somebody treat him like a sir or call him a sir. To say call me Shri or call me Srinidhi. That's my name, and that's how I have also inculcated this practice. Of telling a lot of people that don't call me sir or maybe somebody else as a madam is a practice given by somebody else, and we should not follow this. Maybe everybody has given a beautiful name by their parents. Why not call them by their names altogether? So yeah, multiple inspirational figures there. So as far as success mantra of my organization Eclair South Asia is concerned, I'm this. So just to give you a very short brief about my organization, we are an international NGO called Eclair South Asia. Now Eclair South Asia, because if you say South Asia, that way we have Eclair Canada, we have Eclair Europe, we have Eclair Australia, Eclair South America, and so on and so forth. And we serve different geographies, different region, and because not a single organization is able to serve the entire spectrum around the world, and that's why South Asia came into picture. Headquartered out of Delhi, we are serving as of now India, vast amount of cities, and as of now we are in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, and and also have engagement in Sri Lanka and some other countries as well. So, and there are a lot of private organizations, there are a lot of similar, on the similar line, there are a lot of organizations who work in the same, field, who work on the same parameters, who work on the same, say, subject matter, what we are dealing with. So, as a part of Eclair, we have 5 pathways, we call it. One is sustainability, one is urban built environment, urban mobility, one is energy and climate change, and so forth. So people keep asking this question to Imani Kumar, who is the Executive Director of Eclair South Asia and Deputy Secretary General of Eclair International, that how your organization is able to serve. Say, if we talk about India, we are present in almost 50 plus cities. Once upon a time, we were in 70 cities, but as of now, I'm not sure about the numbers. But I'm sure that we are in 50 plus. Talking about India only. So people keep asking him the same question, that how do you operate? I mean, what exactly and how you are successing? What your success mantra is. And normally he doesn't share. And this is he just shared when we were having a meeting with another international embassy, and they also asked the same question that Imani, that we have seen that you operate on a different level to a similar kind of organization. So what exactly a success mantra is? So what we try to do is, and I'm sharing that mantra, maybe Imani will going to kill me for this. So the success mantra is that because we are dealing with cities, right? Irrespective, we might be an international organization and we might be headquartered in Delhi, but we are dealing with city. That is very important to have people present in the city, right? To engage, and because we work for government, like talking about Udaipur, we are working for Udaipur Municipal Corporation. We have also worked with Udaipur Smart City Limited. We are also serving UIT, Traffic Police, and other organizations as well. And we don't discriminate that just because we are an MOU with only Udaipur Municipal Corporation, they will not be available to other organizations. Whenever and wherever they have needed us, we have helped them. We have done a lot of things for them, and it's all because we get our own funding. We don't charge a single penny from the city. That's how we operate. So success mantra is that, first of all, honesty, integrity, and the few ethics. Work with your principle, work with your ethics. and it's not the Yougal you're representing, right? It's Eclat South Asia you're representing. So have that principle back in your mind that you're not representing Yougal and city as an individual, but you're representing Yougal as a part of Eclat South Asia, and that's applicable to all the colleagues across Eclat South Asia, South Asian region. So that's one, that there is no individuality, there is an organization which you are representing. And second is, it's very important to have continuous dialogue with the city official, city government, to keep them in the loop of whatever you are supporting them with, and also if any new additional things you can tell them about, which can be beneficial for the city, beneficial for the citizenry, which can improve the quality of life. So ultimately, ICLA as an organization believes in irrespective in which pathways, which vertical we are talking about, is that how we improvise the city quality of life. That's our only motto, and that's how we are, motivated. That should be our ultimate goal. That irrespective, I belong to urban vertical, or somebody else belong to energy vertical, somebody else belong to sustainability vertical. But how do you, as a part of this organization, as a part of South Asia, improvising the city quality of life by doing whatever you are doing, or by giving input which normally city doesn't know, or city doesn't have any idea about. So that's what it is. Just to give an example, before I end this, just to give an example. So in Udaipur, given that how when I left the city in 2002, Udaipur was a very small city, but now given the spread of the city, I'm also very, sometimes it kept me baffled that we have grown exponentially since the time, like 20 years we are talking about. And given the kind of population we are serving as of now, and Udaipur is a magnet as of now. If we understand this region, Udaipur is a magnet which pushed a lot of people to the city from the nearby rural villages, from nearby centers, also being the biggest educational hub within a big region. So we have good number of colleges, good number of universities, also become one of the biggest hospital. So it pushes a lot of people to come to the city either on a daily basis, or either just settle down in the city and do something out of the city, or out of their life, to survive in the city altogether. So how, as an organization, we can improvise our quality of life, Udaipur quality of life? To give an example, like My Bike, the bike sharing system, what you see in Udaipur, definitely it's by Arjit Soni, who is the founder of My Bike, based out of Ahmedabad. Being a Rajasthani, and I understand that he was also on your platform once upon a time. So he came to the city, and at that time we were also working on this, on the bringing in public bicycle sharing system. My Bike, basically, a lot of people doesn't understand the system who are not in the field. For them, it's just a cycle rental system, but we are calling on a technical side, we call it as a public bicycle sharing system. So we are also at the same time working on the similar theme, that why don't we bring PBS into the city, given that we have very small distances, given it's a big tourist destination as well, where international tourists, if not national tourists, domestic tourists, at least international tourists would like to walk around, would like to cycle around, so on and so forth. So that was one of the initiatives we are very closely engaged with, and we are like always take pride in this thing, that we are the ones who has helped My Bike to come and set up their business in Udaipur. We were trying very hard to let it grow to another level, not only stuck only at Fatsagar, because that was a pilot we started with. That let's start with a pilot at Fatsagar, let's see how the city responds to it, and when we see the good visibility, we'll spread it across the city to touching point all the important hub of city, colleges, universities, transport terminals, government buildings, big workspaces, industrial area, so people can easily commute on cycle. Given that we don't travel in Udaipur as of now more than 5 to 6 kilometers, if you're, let's say, leaving from your house, like point A to B, if you're making a journey from your house either to your college to get your education, either to your workplace to make your earning, either to your business, which can be a shop, which can be an industry, which can be a IIT hub, or either to an industry, where as a laborer, as a owner, or you are traveling, you don't travel more than 5 to 7 kilometers. That's a beautiful distance to cover on bicycle. But given how the geography, or how the income has changed over the span of good amount of time, for 200-meter also, forget about I'm talking about 5 kilometer. For 200-meter also, if given the opportunity, they don't use cycle. They just go on two-wheeler or four-wheeler to fetch the basic necessity of the household. आपको दूध लेने जाना है तो भी आप कार या टू-व्हीलर पे चले आएंगे. And we are trying to change the scenario. Same way, we have introduced the buses, the red color buses, what you'll be seeing in the on the road from last 1.5 years, that are based on our technical study, which was not at all as a part of our scope. But I thought, why don't I use my expertise, experience to bring this system in the city that Udaipur is choking from pollution of via this the shared rickshaw, and given the government law also, which doesn't allow 15-year-old vehicle to be on road, but still we don't see any action. But we thought that instead of waiting for it, why don't we introduce something which can be beneficial for the city? So the red buses come into picture. So a few examples here and there, yeah. See, to be very frank, I don't possess any special skill, any special knowledge of this thing. It's just that I work with the mindset of improvising the quality of life, and that too for the city which has given me everything, which is my home city, which is my hometown. And it's not the matter of my hometown, wherever I've been to. I always worked with the principle of that why don't we, with whatever tools you have in your hand, in whatever education, let's say if you're in IT, if you're in IT sector, let's say something that you come up with some new solution which can, improvise some solution. Like talking about IT, the IT industry has brought in a lot of new innovation. Like you talk about deliveries, all these are like Zomato you're talking about, maybe Swiggy you're talking about, maybe we talk about once upon a time there used to be some other guys as well. So it's all IT innovation. It's not part of the parcel services. It's just the what do you say, byproduct of the IT innovation, right? So in whatever sector you're coming with, use your tool, use your education, use your wisdom, use your experience, whatever experience you have, or as a fresher also. First of all, honesty, integrity, ethics, your principles. That's most abundant thing. I mean, your principle that you need to have some kind of principle in your life, which you follow very rigorously, and you don't get away from them, irrespective of whatever the situation is, which can guide you that no, this is not your principle are, so you should not get into this. Just to give an example that maybe we missed that point during the hardship. To give an example of skywalk which has been created at Chetak hospital, right? Or maybe a few flowers which are getting constructed in the city. So definitely, as a transportation professional, I would have also gone ahead and done that, but it's totally against my principle, and I was tried very hard, that instead of having this kind of massive structures which might destroy the city geography, a lot of international cities now demolishing the structures and creating a lot of beautiful public plazas, or utilizing those spaces into much more meaningful ways instead of doing this. We are going into a different spectrum, we are going into a different strategy, but somehow you are able to overcome your whatever hurdles you are, sometimes not. So these are a few examples which we were not able to, for whatever commitments we already made to the city. So the message is just that have your principle in your place, try to follow your principle as rigorously as possible, honesty, integrity, hard work, try to use your experience as much as possible in whatever sector you are, gain new skills, gain new knowledge, connect to the people from across the sector, not only confined to your own sector, that just because I'm into urban development, so it's just that I know a few people here and there from only that sector. Go and meet new people, try to get what they are doing, try to see that how you can integrate, if there is any possibility, their work into your field, and try to have some kind of common platform where if different kind of expertise come together and can come up with a solution which can be helpful for the city, in terms of which can be beneficial for the citizenry, or which somehow help that, let's say if pollution levels are at this level, if they are able to reduce maybe 0.01% also, then also you'll feel good that with the smallest initiative of yours, you are able to reduce 0.01% of pollution. That's a great achievement. So that's what the only thing I had to say there. Yeah. So all experience, I would say. I mean, definitely nobody's born leader. It's just that I mean, definitely I'm wrong. There are few people who are destined to be the leader. They have this quality of being the born leader, but I'm not one of them. I have just used my experience to be where I am. So yeah, it's out of the experience altogether. Yeah. So talking about my work, what I like about my work is definitely it has given me this opportunity, beautiful opportunity, to work very closely with government officials to understand how government operate at different level. Like I have given an example of when I was in Bangalore, we were dealing with chief secretaries, principal secretaries who are on the very top tiers as talking about administrative side of the city. Every city has political side and administrative side. Political side is all the politicians there, and administrative side is all bureaucratic side of it. So chief secretary at the top level, which is equivalent to, like, on the political side, you can say CM. CM is the ultimate, definitely the person who guides the state, and is on the administrative side. He is being guided by CS, chief secretary, and I say CS chief secretary, additional chief secretaries, principal secretaries. So it has given me the opportunity to connect to that highest level, to the level now at the lowest level of government rank, which is like the junior engineers, which are working in the city, local city government. So I was able to understand how the functioning this government functioning works, from the junior most engineer level to the highest chief secretary level. So that's one of the opportunity, one of the beautiful this thing I would say. You are able to work with IS, you are able to work with, say, in Karnataka we have Karnataka Administrative Services, KS, in Rajasthan is RS. So every state has their local, administrative services. So you're able to work with all kind of, government officers, give you that kind of opportunity. Second thing is, which I love most about what I do, is that it has given me the opportunity to connect with a lot of people, not only within, my own setup, but has given me the opportunity to connect people outside the world also. Like, to give you an example, I'm also the bicycle mayor of Udaipur, so it has given me opportunity at international platform to connect with other bicycle mayors across the globe, what exactly they are doing for their own cities, how they are promoting bicycles, and how they are doing it, how they're engaging with city, how they're engaging with other stakeholder group who are there in the city, who resist or who might like the ideas, and sometimes they promote it, sometimes they try to demote it, whatever. I mean, based on geographies we are talking about, based on the condition we are talking about, based on the financial constraint or financial surplus we are talking about. A lot of factors going on there. So we are able to, at least I'm lucky enough, to able to connect to a lot of people across the globe, irrespective of you're sitting in a smaller town city like Udaipur, which is normally, if we put in that way, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, we are in tier 3 as of now. Not even tier 2. Tier 1 definitely are the population which are which are already over crore or maybe touching that figure. We are just not even 10 lakhs. I mean, the 2011 census, which is the last census, by the way, talks about 5 point something lakhs, 0.05 million, if we put in that way, that perspective. So that's the beautiful thing about this thing, and about the thing what I love about my job. And also it has allowed me, to use my skills, to use my experience, to use my whatever experience I have, to like, I keep repeating the same thing, that I was able to give something back to my city, and I'm proud of that. The biggest thing is that if you're able to give something to your own city, not only to any city, that's also a beautiful thing, that maybe you might be working in Delhi, Mumbai, or wherever you're working with. You also work with the same principle, that somehow I need to improvise the city of this city, because I'm, as of now, the resident of the city, but I'm able to do it for my hometown, and I take pride in that. So yes, that's what I love about my job. I am from Udaipur, born and brought up in Udaipur, but my maternal place is called Manjana, which is a place between Mavli and Nadwara. Mavli Junction, which is quite a big junction, railway junction we are talking about, and Nadwara, which is definitely famous across country as well as across world for the famous Srinathji temple, right? So my childhood is all about, all my summer vacation till 8th standard I have spent in the village. And my paternal side is from Kamnor, which is again, a place settled between Haldigati, which is famous world across for the famous Battle of Haldigati between Maharaja Pratap and Akbar, right? And a place called Molila, which is famous for its Molila art, right? So Kamnor is between these places, between these two beautiful hotspots, which at least people know. So the childhood memories is all about that. Today, when I say somebody that I'm from Manjana, so given my language, given my maybe attire, or given my whatever look, they don't believe this that I'm from Manjana, and I would say that I have more memories of Manjana than of Udaipur, than of Kamnor, or than of any other place. And given the opportunity, I keep telling my wife, time and again that given the opportunity, I'll be more than happy to go, even leave Udaipur and go and settle down in Manjana. And not the Manjana main town. I mean, Manjana main town is main village. Main village is still maybe 1 kilometer away from the Manjana railway station I'm talking about, which just has one house, few shops here and there which are closed down for the longest time, and a railway station which is called Nadara railway station, by the way. So once upon a time there used to be good amount of trains which used to come to Nadara station. Maybe in a day we used to have 5 trains. Before this, the entire schedule they have changed, Indian Railways changed, and now not even a single, maybe only one train passed to the entire, throughout the entire day. And just opposite the railway station, maybe 50 meters is my nani's house. And we have this because it's a railway station, the one at a time, now also it exists 5 government quarters on the left hand side of the station and 5 on the right hand side. That's 10 quarters. Once upon a time, till the time we have this 5-6 trains coming day in day out, it was all a buzzing station, and it's always full with people. And we also used to have one school near to my nani's place. It's called Manjana Uch Madhyamik Vidyalaya. So I had spent some amount of time there as well. And because I was spending my summer vacation there, entire 2 months there till 8th standard. So I had a lot of friends from the village, and that the grassroots memory is very different from the people who doesn't have that experience of living in or spending some time in village. मैंने गाय चराई हैं, मैंने भैंसें चराई हैं, मैंने बकरियां चराई है. I mean, put it that bluntly, and मैंने I have milked the cows and this thing. So that's beautiful memories out there. And I keep traveling to Manjana. As of now, my nani is still there, and you will not believe that since the time the railway has rescheduled everything, and now only one train pass. Other than my nani and maybe another 5 people in that entire setup, there is nobody within a periphery of 1 kilometer. So there is 5 to 7 people surviving within a range of 1 kilometer, and she is alone since the time I am seeing her, since the time I am a kid, and we both are fond of each other like anything. So I have 3 siblings, my younger brother and elder sister, but I am her favorite and she's my favorite. So that's the connection there, and beautiful memories out there. Talking about Udaipur, yes, we had a beautiful childhood memories in Udaipur because I did my schooling from Central Academy Sardarpura. We had a very strong, close group of 7 to 8 people, which are still surviving, which are still a very good, beautiful group of friends. And few are. So you'll not believe, by the way, there's another coincidence there that, the brain drain in 2017 when it happened to me, it has already happened to 2 of my friends who has already shifted back to the city, and happened to 2-3 more friends who after I shifted. So I was the third one to shift back to the city, and then another 2 or 3 friends again came back to the city. So it was the same time, everybody shifted back. Everybody shifted out at the same time. In 2002, we all moved out to a different part of the world. And in 2017 to 2019, not even 20, I would say, till the time we had Corona, because in Corona, nobody shifted that. This is all before pre-COVID crisis we are talking about. As of now, we are 3 to 4 guys who are shifted back to the city. So as a childhood memories, we used to bunk, that everybody used to do. but we get caught multiple times, and all times snooker and this pool and snooker were crazy. So we got being clapped there. We have been clapped because there were few snooker and pool center which are very nearby to our schools. So the teacher was got a whiff of it that this guy, go for bunk and go to the snooker place only. So we are being clapped on our checks and back to the school after being clapped multiple times. Yeah, few memories here and there. Where I would see, where I would continue to do what I'm doing, where I would like to change the places, how is it? So it's all destiny, I would say. I mean, it's definitely, there's a lot of things going into your mind that you would like to maybe pursue certain other things. Maybe you would like to change the places. Maybe you would like to do something else. And now, given that we have a kid also, he's just like 5 year old now, 5+, 5.4 or 5.5. Udaipur, the second instant of Udaipur has given me this beautiful kid also named Kahan, a very energetic kid, a very running kid. Always, love running like anything. Maybe I take pride in that there also because I was the one when he was like just started walking. He had started walking. I was the one within 6 months. I was taking daily to Fatsagar Pal, and we used to run around this Pal. First, we used to walk around. So the Pal, the close stretch of Pal is Fatsagar Pal is 800-meter ride. So we used to do 2 rounds walking. So it's become 1.6 kilometers when he's just like maybe 2 year old. And once he start a little bit of running, jogging, so we used to do 2-3 rounds, and now he would run like anything. He would run for say 4-5 kilometers and he'll not stop. And I love that. I mean, I'm very happy about that. So talking about future, yes, there are a lot of things which goes into the mind or which is going into the mind, which is like and few medical condition here and there. So I need to be very careful about certain things as well. So I don't have a very concrete answer to this, that whether I would continue doing the same what I'm doing as of now, or I would like to change places, whatever it is. But yes, there are plans. There are like plans, as in there are things which are keep wavering your mind around, and that's good thing. Instead of you just settle down and be comfortable in your life, what you are becoming stagnant with the same life what you are doing from last few years. It's better that you go and do something else. So yeah, not having concrete answers, but yes, there are a lot of things on the back of my mind. Yeah, COVID-19 was and definitely is the big learning. It has given big learning to people all across the globe, not only to people of certain geographies, certain regions. Right? It has changed the world entirely, and it was like one of the most unprecedented times of all. Definitely, we have not seen something as wild as this crisis was, and it has changed people's life like anything. And suddenly, people are jobless. Suddenly, people have lost, very near and dear ones, and not only one, maybe few here near and dear ones, and that too without any reason and out of the blue kind of situations, right? So uh, positives far and few in between, but yes, there are. One biggest was, given that moment we went into the lockdown, it has connected a lot of families together. I understand. I mean, like how we have this industrial people who has walked more than 2,000 kilometers to their, home. That was a bad example. That was like one of the worst scenario we have seen. But on the flip side of it, we also seen that people were asked to work from home. So that way, there were people who were able to connect to their families or able to spend good amount of time, maybe 1 year, 2 years, or there are a lot of families who are still living together, who have not lived, who have not spent that amount of time in last 20, 25, 30 years because uh, everybody was scattered around. Your parents might be living in some city, your wife might be working in some other city, you might be in some other job in some other city altogether. Your kid might be pursuing higher education or maybe graduation in some other city. So it's like scattered all around. But at least COVID has given that opportunity for people, for a family to have a get together for a good amount of time, not only for maybe 3 months also is a good amount of time, which the initial lockdown I'm talking about. But now I've seen a lot of families who are there stuck together to each other from last 2 3 years, and it's a beautiful thing, which we have not thought of, given in the normal situation it was not possible. That's one positive I'm talking about. It's not positive as maybe out of force also, but somehow, I mean, I'll always look at the brighter side of it, and the brighter side is socially people were able to connect to each other at that whatever level we are talking about, right? Second positive, if I'll tell about, so it's not positive, I would say, but yes, it has changed the norms. Just to give an example here, change norm of how the industry or how the the organization works, and how it can have a positive impact on the climatic side of it. Just an example, like Bangalore is a big IT hub, and not only Bangalore, there are a lot of cities which are big IT hub. And what about IT hub? There are a lot of big campus which employs 2,000, 3,000 people, right, within a single building or within a single office premises. And somehow I call our country as a copycat country for the reason that India being a very hot, humid, climatic condition country, we have just copycatted this thing glass and HCP stuff, which is definitely not suitable to our climatic condition, irrespective of whatever which part of the country you are talking about. Because Western countries, European countries use glass to absorb more heat because they are generally more cool countries. So they would like to have their buildings warm up throughout the day, instead of using artificial heating. Definitely, sometimes they have to use artificial heating system also. But we have just, imported this system, and it doesn't suit to our climatic. It is not at all feasible to our climatic condition, given that we already are very hot, country, where temperature in some cities rose above 50 degrees as well. Not only in Rajasthan, but in different part of the, cities across India. Just to give an example, Nagpur, which is just touching the exactly in the center of the country. Its average temperatures is somewhere very near to 50 plus and minus here and there, and few cities, not only a lot of cities, but yes, good number of cities. Now the cultural shift has happened in a way that a lot of offices now understood that they can cut down, and just to accommodate this huge number of employees within the organization, they have this big premises and they run on centralized AC. First of all, by using glasses and ACP, they already have created a heat island. Now to keep the building cooler, because it is accommodating this many people, we are using centralized AC, which emit more heat in the already heated zone. So NCR is completely heat island. It's not some pocket of Delhi or some pocket of Gurgaon. NCR is completely the big heat island, and that way it's there in a lot of cities across India. But now with the cultural shift that people are working from home from last 2 3 years, a lot of offices I have seen that they have realized that they can cut down the cost by allowing people to work from home, by allowing people to work from wherever they are, from wherever they are. I mean, put it that way. But it's just that maybe whatever submission we are supposed to do, maybe whatever quality we are looking at, if you are able to fulfill that needs, irrespective from wherever you're doing it, then companies has understand the system that they do not need to have this kind of huge premises. So that will save huge land, first of all, which as of now in big cities we are losing away like anything, and we are losing away green chunks. So there might be maybe upcoming times we might see more green lungs in the city, which given the development, given the urbanization, which we are not able to see in last few years, it will also have an impact that now with company allowing people to work from home. So say from 2,000 3,000 employees, now they are cut down that only the senior level positions or only the junior most level position, whatever position we're talking about, need to come to the office, and rest of people can work from home for another 10 years. Maybe the usage of electricity, maybe the usage of AC, maybe the electricity of another furniture and this and that, which definitely comes from everything comes from natural sources, right? Electricity comes from, say, thermal plant, which use coal. Furniture comes from trees. who's done this and that. So huge savings, huge land saving, huge resource savings we can see in coming times if people have learned their lessons right way. At least I have seen few organizations already learned that lesson hard ways or right ways, whatever you can call it. So these are the few positives and much more, but yeah, major positives. And talking about learnings are this years that hygiene. I have seen, that's the biggest game changer this COVID-19 has been. That once upon a time, pre-COVID times, we were totally, unhygienic country. But with this crisis, it has given a chance for people to, at least wash their hand before they go and touch their meal, right? So basic principle that our ancestors used to do, our forefathers to forefathers they used to do. There's written, in our scriptures that these are the basic principle of life, that at least before touching a meal you need to wash your hands. So some, learning here and there. Yeah, that's maybe I can think of it as of now. But yeah, that's all. Talking about us, when we say us, it's me, my wife, and my kid. I'm talking about. We all three are outdoorsy people, and given the COVID crisis, the biggest impact what I've seen was on kids. Definitely, is not me. I mean, everybody knows that the biggest sufferer of this crisis was the kids, right? That when they have the sense of growing up, when they have sense of, you know, going ahead in life, and suddenly they were locked down in the house. And 90%, at least that's coming out of my experience, my family, friends, 90% of parents has taken out the easy way out of, giving either, screen time, I would call it. Either it can be on mobile, either it can be on TV, either it can be on some other gadget, maybe tablet, iPad, whatever it is. That the screen time of kids, not only kids, of the adults also has increased exponentially. Now, for adults, I will not comment that much, but for kids, it is the biggest, I would say, a very, wrong thing to happen. First of all, they are locked inside their houses, which is not good for their overall development, physical, mental, cognitive, whatever development you talk about. And moreover, given the increase in screen time, it is again, first of all, they are locked, and then there's a, increased pressure of, for parents is just a means to keep their kids engaged, because there's a limit. Parents can also spend time with kids, engaging them in other activity. But at least me and wife took a very conscious decision that in COVID times also, when we were locked down within our houses, we had made conscious decision that irrespective of what happened, irrespective of whatever amount of time we are going to be locked down within our safe premises, but will not allow our Kahan to have an increased screen time. So today also is just like he's 5-year-old. It's not more than 2 hours, which is a mix up of mobile and TV as well. And we feel very bad that 2 hours also is for me and my wife is also very much, that he was not at all into TV or mobile. And we, from beginning itself, we were very conscious about this thing that we should not get into mobile. So it's all about that, we learned very soon that, and we know, and for the fact world know that kids imbibe what parents do, right? If you're watching a TV, they will also watch TV. If you're continuously on your mobile, they'll also be continuously, because they are just seeing you, they'll just want to imbibe you. So let's say if you're on a road and you have a very bad driving sense, you keep honking for unknown reason, they'll also learn the same way. Maybe you use your foul language, so the same language they'll get used to it very early on in their life. So you need to be very careful around kids. So if you're reading a book, they'll also get a practice of getting into book, and that's what we did. We made Kahan to get into books. That was like pre-COVID times also, that because we both are very much into books, so we made him also get into the books. And at the same time, we used our terrace. We didn't find any excuse that now we don't have any space to go out. We used our terrace as outdoor space, and maybe we used to spend 3 to 4 hours. I remember, in summers, because summers days are longer days. We used to spend 3 4 hours on the terrace, getting engaged in this kind of activities. Else, whenever we got opportunity, we were out outside on the hills and terrains and this and that. So we are lucky that we are outdoorsy people and we have made Kahan the same way what we are. Yeah. So outside my house, we love to roam around. I love to read books. TV and this thing is not my cup of tea. And OTT definitely I don't love it, because I'm into movies also, but for me movie experiences, first of all, I'm not into much of Bollywood movies until it's something very beautiful, And for Hollywood, what I realized very early on is that for Hollywood movies, the kind of phenomena that they show you, irrespective of very hi-fi VFX they use, maybe war movies, maybe any fictional movies, maybe any sci-fi movies. But the charm comes only when you look at the bigger screen. It doesn't give you same charm when you're looking at the on your 32 inches TV or 40-inch TV, or maybe on your mobile. You lose that charm. You lose that beautifulness of what the directors have put up the energy and effort to come out with the picture. So I'm not into any kind of this stuff. So I'm lucky at least that books are giving keep me motivated around. In fact, in COVID times, I have finished with all my books. I have tried to exchange books with other friends, other colleagues, other people whom I was knowing in the city. So that's how we kept ourselves engaged during the COVID times and after and pre also. Yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Work Mob, for giving me this opportunity to be on this platform to not only share my the entire experience of my professional career, but also to share from my entire life journey, from where we have come to where we are today. So thank you, Workmore, for this, and to all the listeners who are listening to this whatever you call it, Meri Kahani. So please, you can go ahead and maybe like, share, and comment if you really liked it. It's not, and if you don't like it just for the sake of liking it, just for the sake of commenting, or just for the sake of sharing, don't do it, please. But if you really like that there's something worth watching, worth sharing, worth commenting, please go ahead and do that. So we need to be as genuine as possible, from my side as well as from your side. But yeah, that's all from my side. But thank you for listening to the story, and this is my kahani, I would say. Thank you. So yes, I would like to first of all thank you for listening this. I'm going to sing a song, and I would like to dedicate a song to all my near and dear ones, and to all the listeners as well. That this is the song which is in my recent playlist. And maybe a lot of people across the world, not only in India or Pakistan, but across the world, have heard this song and they like the song. Beautiful song it is. Gulabi aankhein jo teri dekhi, rawana mein dil ho gaya, maalo mujhko o mere yaaro. I don't know, something. Yeah, thank you.
दोस्तों, आप सुन रहे थे युगल टांग की जिंदगी की कहानी, इनकी अपनी जुबानी। ऐसी ही प्रेरक कहानियाँ रोजाना सुनने के लिए हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन जरूर दबाएं। और अगर आज की ये कहानी आपको पसंद आई है तो इसे लाइक, कमेंट और शेयर जरूर करें। वर्क मॉब आपको दे रहा है एक सुनहरा मौका अपने विचारों को व्यक्त करने का, अनुभवों को साझा करने का और जीवन की कहानी देशवासियों तक पहुंचाने का। तो सुनाइए अपनी कहानी और ले आइए लोगों के जीवन में आशा की एक नई किरण। लेट्स इंस्पायर टुगेदर, वी कैन, इंडिया कैन। आपकी कहानी में भी ताकत है दुनिया बदलने की, लोगों की सोच आगे बढ़ाने की। तो सुनाइए अपनी कहानी और अपनी कहानी से दीजिए सभी को एक नई प्रेरणा। फिलहाल वक्त तो चला है आप सभी से इजाजत लेने का। बहुत जल्द फिर लौटेंगे आपके पास एक नई कहानी के साथ। तब तक के लिए बने रहिए हमारे साथ और देखते रहिए कहानियों का हमारा एक खास कार्यक्रम, और लेते रहिए हर नई कहानी से एक नई प्रेरणा रोजाना। नमस्कार।